Hello my friend, this is PDJ Zeller and welcome to the First and 15 YouTube channel. First video I'm uploading on here. Today I'm running the official street stocks from the Iowa Speedway. This is actually the first iRacing video I've made in quite some time. Last time I made one was about 4 or 5 years ago with an SK modified race at Bristol. Today I ran, this is actually pre-recorded, so I already ran this race. This is after the fact. This is an excellent race I ended up having today from the Iowa Speedway in these street stocks. One of the best races I've ran on iRacing in such a long time. It was such a good race. I decided, you know what, I gotta make a YouTube video. So here we go, coming off turn number 4 for the first time. And the key with these races early on is the cars are actually really loose right out of the gate. So here we go on the start, got a really good jump. I actually got such a good jump, I ended up clearing that inside line heading down into turn number 1. So already up to position number 5 after starting 6th. Here I go to the inside, Robbie Chavey, or Clavey, excuse me. Clavey's a great dude, love racing with him, got to his inside here, and then here we come underneath the number 21 car. The pole setter got a little loose in the start, opened the door up for the rest of us, and now I'm already up to 3rd after starting in 6th on the first lap, running right behind the 1 car of Andrew McLaughlin and the 8 of Bailey Galinas. So a decent start there, and like I said, these cars are really loose though. You see everyone skidding around, you see me like wheeling this car, sawing the wheel back and forth. These things get sideways if you're not careful with them, and you really do gotta wheel the heck out of these cars to keep them facing the right way. So you'll see my hands moving around quite a lot here early on as I race to the inside right now for 2nd with Andrew McLaughlin. It is hard though early on in these runs to make that pass on the low side, because you see there, you just get so loose from the aerodynamics of the car on the outside and just from the tires being cold that it really is hard to make anything happen down there on the low side. So right now I run right in the tire tracks. McLaughlin is to the high side of me. Clavey continues to race with me for 4th and 3rd. A fun track though, Iowa. Once the tires get some heat in them, these cars can run 2 and 3 wide. It's really hard to make a pass here. As you see, I clear Clavey as I talk about how hard it is to make a pass. Clavey will get the run off though and jump back to my low side. It's just so hard to clear cars though here at Iowa, you know. It's not the easiest thing in the world because the car on the high side keeps the momentum up. The car on the low side has good momentum too, so it's really just a stalemate once you get side by side with someone, as you see me and Clavey race side by side for 3rd right now. And at this point in the race, too, it's a 40-lap race. There's quite a ways to go. As you see, I'm starting to pinch Clavey to the bottom. That's because I'm starting to get more comfortable. As these tires start to get worn in more and more as the race goes on, I do get more comfortable, more willing to try moves like that. So you'll see that I start to pinch them a little bit. The tires are getting the heat in them, so now it's time to race. That's really the key to these things. He's got to wait for the tires to get some heat and know when it's time to race. When it's time to race, then you go races. Here I go with the crossover on Clavey again. Great racing right now as we actually start to inch in towards the leaders a little bit as McLaughlin's trying to make it on the low side of Galinas. Sorry, I almost forgot Bailey's name there. Bailey Galinas, I really like that dude. I've raced with him quite a bit over my 9 years on iRacing. It's a name I recognize. He's one of those guys that anytime I see him in a race, I know it's going to be a good race. He's the type of driver that'll run you clean, race you side by side. He'll take everything you give him, but nothing more. An excellent driver. So here I'm looking to make it 3 wide, go 3 wide for the lead. Unfortunately, I just barely did not quite have the space. Got into the 1 car a little bit, so I let off the gas. Didn't want to do anything too aggressive there on like lap number 8. So I just kind of let him have it for the time being, slid back in the line and regrouped. The key here for me is getting on the high side. I don't like being on the low side. The low side, the car on the high side has more freedom. When you're on the high side, you can really pinch that car on the low side down low, get the run off and try to make a move. As you see, I'm working my way to the outside of the 1 car here. And I just like being up top. I feel like there's a lot more freedom, a lot more room to make your move. And if it's the last lap, we're coming to the checkered flag. The outside lane is the one that's going to carry the momentum to the line. So outside lane is where I think it's the place to be. As here we go. I'm just trying to follow the 29 of Robert Clothier through this hole as I dive down low underneath the 1. I completely forgot I made that move, so there we go. I made my way underneath McLaughlin, and I just gained that position. McLaughlin was going to let me have it, but then he slid back up here on the outside, made a fight for it. Unfortunately for him, I should say, I just had a little bit too much car on him. Really not a whole lot McLaughlin could have done there to try to get that one back for me. So here we come off the corner. I'm looking to chop the nose off of McLaughlin. Still has a tiny bit of a nose in, but at this point I'm not too worried about him until I make my way to the outside of Robbie. And here we go. This is where the racing starts to get real exciting. I'm now to the outside of Robbie. And Robbie is another guy, Robbie Clavey and Bailey Galinas, those two that are in front of me right now, those are two guys that I know can hold a wheel and are going to race me clean. So here we go. I look to make it up the middle. I wasn't going to, but I think Bailey thought I was gonna. So Bailey actually slid up the racetrack and left me a huge hole in the middle, a hole so big I couldn't not take it. So I drove it right up there in the middle as Clavey's still to my inside. And we raced 3 wide here for the lead. Crazy racing here at Iowa. Coming into the week, Iowa was actually one of my least favorite tracks. I just hadn't raced here in a while, and it doesn't really suit my racing style. At least I didn't think it did. But I ran a few races this week, and I can say as I clear the inside lane of Clavey, so now it's just 2 by 2 for the lead. Back to the point about Iowa, though, I do like this track quite a bit. It produces really good racing. It's really tight racing, and if you have a group of guys that can wheel a race car, it's a lot of fun. So here I go right now, racing for the lead with Bailey, and off the corner, I almost cleared Bailey, but just not quite. And as I mentioned earlier, I like to be on that outside, so you're going to see me try to work my way back up to the top. As right now, Bailey runs right on my door, and off this corner, I think I do clear Bailey, and I do. So I go up top. I knew Bailey was going to pull the crossover and go to my low side. I was completely okay with that. I like being up top. And the thing about Iowa is you're going to be side by side the whole race. You're not going to pull away unless you're just an alien. So I kind of knew that I just had to pick my lane here, go high or go low. I chose to go high and gave Bailey the low line. So here we go now, racing for the top spot. You see a bunch of pack of cars. There's about 5 to 8 cars racing for the lead up here in this race, and like a 13-car field. I mean, the split was fantastic. As I get into the wall a little bit there, getting to Bailey a little bit, that was just me being bad. I apologized right away, and there was no issue. Whenever you race that close for so long, eventually something has to give right. You might notice in my mirror a new car making its way into the fold. That's Jonathan Tuckness. We call him Tuck in the number 3 car. And Tuck is a really good driver, too. I've been talking up Bailey. I've been talking up all these guys up front. Tuck can hold a wheel just as good as I am. Tuck is another guy I like to race with. He'll race you clean. He'll race you hard. And this is just such a great group of guys to race with. And I know that kind of sounds corny, like, oh, this is a great group of guys, you know, yada, yada, yada. You don't get that a whole lot in this series. You really don't. A lot of time these races, you get them young kids, as me and Bailey touch once again, a little door tapping. You get a lot of these young kids who just come in here and race too aggressively, try to wreck you, just go on the chat and say stupid stuff, really take away from the experience. I believe that iRacing was intended to be a simulator, and by a simulator that means that's intended to be the closest thing to the real thing as possible. So when I run these races, I run them with a fair bit of seriousness. I run them like this is a real race car, this is my real racing career, and I'm out here just trying to win races. And I'm trying to race clean, and I'm trying to bring my car home on the hauler without any damage. So whenever you have a group of guys in a race that all think that way, which this race definitely was, Bailey thinks that way, Tuck thinks that way, McLaughlin thinks that way, Clavey thinks that way. Whenever you get a group of guys racing for a win that all kind of have that mentality of, hey, you know, we got to run these things clean, it can be a really, really freaking fantastic race. And that's what happened in this one exactly here. As you see that me and Bailey have just been dueling for this lead for about the last 10 laps. Bailey, like I said, I know that Bailey's going to hold his line down there. He's a heck of a wheel man. I really start to pinch him here too, because these tires are in their sweet spot right about now. We're getting close to lap 20, halfway through the run. And whenever these tires hit their sweet spot, that means they're sticking to the racetrack. You can really pinch a guy down low. You know the car is going to stick there. As you see a car spin in my mirror, and that will actually bring out the caution for the first time in this race at about lap number 18. So that was actually a nice breather at the halfway point of the race, to be honest with you. After racing so aggressively there for the first half, it was nice to get a chance to catch my breath as you see me catch up to the pace car. While we're under caution here, I do want to take a minute to give a shout out to Pink Orange Paint Schemes. After I get out of the pace car, you can take a look here. Look at the paint scheme, brand new this week. Tanner Kalin over at Pink Orange Paint Schemes did this paint scheme for me. And I mean, look at this car. This thing is just sexy. Tanner Kalin does an excellent job with pretty much every paint scheme he makes. You can contact him if you want him to paint a car for you. He really does some great work. If you want to see some other work by him, don't be afraid to reach out to him, and I'm sure he'll send you some schemes he's done and maybe some samples of some work you're looking to get done. Tanner Kalin, Pink Orange Paint Schemes, no one really does it better on iRacing, to be honest with you. So I'm going to skip these caution laps because I know, my friend, you do not want to watch these. I don't want to watch them either, trust me. So we're just going to go right past these as we're getting ready to get things restarted here. This time by, they get the white flag, so one more lap till we go back green. And the running order here as we get things ready. I'm in first, Bailey Galinas is in second, third is Andrew McLaughlin, fourth is Jonathan Tuckness, fifth is actually going to be Robert Clavey, sixth is going to be Debbie Hetje, seventh will be Michael Verdas, eighth will be Kevin Douglas, ninth will be Jack Patrick, and 10th will be Alex Duda. As we get ready to get things back going here, let me go back up front to my car and get in the cockpit. And now for this restart here, I was actually pretty excited because I know that Tuck is a good driver. He had to start in the back of this field. I think he had issues with qualifying, but I know that he's one of the guys that's going to race you really hard and clean. So I just knew when I saw Tuck and Bailey and Robert up here, I just had a feeling that this was going to be a fun end to this race. So as the pace car pulls off, I was trying to time my restart well. I really did get a good jump. I restart in third gear. You get a lot of RPMs up that way. Dove to the low side, got the runoff. I ended up clearing the high side. So I drove high in 1 and 2. Intentionally, I left the door open to the inside. As I've mentioned earlier, I do like to run up top, and I would prefer if there's a car to my inside than my outside. So I let Andrew McLaughlin in the 1 car just fill up that hole as he dove below me. And we ended up racing pretty tight here. So he actually made a little contact with me, sent me up the racetrack, which made it 3 wide. Now Bailey's going to send it up the middle. So I'm 3 wide on the way top. And I know you can race up there, but it ain't easy. But I just kind of try to make it work up here as I'm way up the racetrack. But now Bailey's going to slide up the track and leave the hole for me. And I end up going up the middle here. So it's great 3 wide racing. I mean, this is just epic here. As now I'm in the middle. And the middle, I guess I would prefer it to the bottom, but you really do not want to be in the middle in a 3 wide situation. You know, you have the car to your inside, and it's your job to pinch them as low as you can when you're in the middle, because that car on the outside of you needs room to raise too, so you really got to pinch that car on the low side down, as you see me do here. Now, you got to make sure you give them enough room to get off the corner, though, so that's why you see me come up the racetrack a little bit. It's so tight coming off. And then the car to your outside, when you're coming off the corner, you just got to be really careful to make sure that you're not going too high and putting that car into the fence, because you want to make sure you give everyone room to race. It's not just about you when you're on the racetrack. I think that's the biggest thing that some of the younger drivers could take value in learning here, is that it is about the other guys around you too. Yes, you want to win, but at the end of the day, we all do this because we like to race. We all like to win, but we like to race too. And part of it is the racing factor, like you see right here. And if you want to have good, great, clean racing, you got to know how to position your car and how to put your car in places to succeed. And that's what I'm pretty much doing here, is I'm just trying to ensure that I can keep this car in the middle without touching anyone and making sure that everyone has a fair chance. Here we go, though. I'm trying to clear Tuck on the inside. It's getting real close here. And I do almost clear him, however, he did get the nose in, so I did wash up the racetrack a little bit. That gave Bailey a good run on the high side of me. Bailey's now right back up top. To the inside, Andrew McLaughlin still races down there. I finally clear him, so here we go. I'm to the bottom side now. Bailey's to my top. Bailey has a lot of help from Tuck in the 3 car. Tuck trying to help Bailey clear me. It's hard to do. It is really hard to clear someone in these cars if you have a good group of drivers who know what they're doing. So here we go. I'm running right down low on the racetrack. And still on that high side, Bailey's making it work. I see McLaughlin right in my mirror. I mean, this is just epic here. The track's all over, the car's all over the racetrack, excuse me. You see Tuck now driving down to the low side. Tuck's running right on my bumper now. And at this point, I was getting a little nervous, because I know Tuck would not hesitate to make it 3 wide on the bottom. Not because he's a dirty driver or anything, but he's a really good driver, and I know he knows where to put a race car. So at this point, I'm thinking, oh no, I'm about to end up in that middle sucker hole again, as a Tuck runs right on my bumper. And off this corner, I just got a little too tight, washed up the racetrack. Tuck pulls right up to me here. We go through 3 and 4. Actually had a pretty good 3 and 4. Off the corner though, Tuck just had all that draft, and you'll see Tuck pulls the nose in. We're 3 wide again, baby. Tuck to the inside, and this is only getting more epic as these laps continue to wind down. At this point, it's about 12, 11 laps to go in this race, and it's go time. Up front, I'm the 3 car in this race, or I'm the 2 car, excuse me. Tuck is the 3 car, McLaughlin's the 1, and Bailey's the 5. So we have the 4 of the 5 highest iRating guys racing for the win here at the end of this race. I mean, it does not get better than this on iRacing. As I know it says 8 on the side of Bailey's car. He put that number there on his paint scheme. He is actually number 5 in iRating on the circuit. So we continue to go 3 wide. And the thing is, too, as this run goes on, we're racing so hard and we're all giving it our absolute alls here. These tires are starting to get worn down a little bit. As these laps wind down, we're really chewing these tires up. They're starting to go away from us. And these cars are getting more and more tight as the laps wind down, so being 3 wide is starting to become more of a challenge than it was to begin with. And trust me, it was enough of a challenge to begin with. As for a moment here, I did clear Tuck, so I got back to the low side now, but I hit that bump in the middle of 1 and 2 that sent me right up the racetrack, and sure enough, Tuck just got a good enough run. He stuck the nose and tucked to my inside. As I pinched him down as low as I can. I mean, look how much room I'm giving him. I am giving him no much more room than one race car. And that dude just has the skill to keep it pinned down there and keep it to my inside. And that is skill right there. That is absolute pure skill. As we continue to race 3 wide, and skill I keep complimenting Tuck. But to my outside, look at Bailey. I mean, Bailey Galinas, he has done a fantastic job of keeping it up there. It's not easy to stay in the 3rd lane for this many laps, but just look at the way he runs the corner. He knows how to pinch me just perfectly enough where he's going to get enough momentum off the corner, and he keeps that car up there, not exit after the whip, but just the slightest bit, and that gives him the run. Bailey really did an excellent job here. So at this point in the race, I'm thinking that I'm in a decent position to win with under 10 laps to go. I like being in the middle. I think that I need to get rid of that car on the high side, though. So at this point in the race, I'm not even trying to focus on clearing Tuck down low. I really don't care if Tuck's under me or not. My plan is I'm trying to clear Galinas on the high side. I want to make sure that I'm the highest car on the racetrack. There's no one running higher than me, so that way no one's carrying low momentum to the start-finish line. I mean, you've seen this race so far. You're looking at the way we're racing right now. In my mind, I was thinking there's no way this race isn't going to be a photo finish. I just need to position myself to get back to the wire first. So it's a lot of help on the high side for Tuck with that one car of McLaughlin. I mean, they're just running right up there. And it's hard. It's really hard to clear that car on the high side. Here you see I pinched Tuck way down to the bottom of the racetrack. And I'm just trying to pinch him as low as I can because I know I need to get a good run off the corner if I'm ever going to clear Galinas on the high side. Galinas here, though, is really doing a good job of just keeping that car up there. I mean, both these guys, Tuck, Galinas, even Andrew in the 1, you see Clavey still back there racing with us. All these guys did a perfect job. Not only did they race clean, but they did a great job keeping their cars in position to win. They were racing for the win. They were racing hard, but contact was not part of the equation here, and everyone did a fantastic job. Off the corner, you see I do clear Galinas a little bit, so I get up to the high side of the racetrack. Now it's just tucked to my inside. A great job there to clear that 5. And I wasn't completely clear. You saw a little bump there. I cut off his nose. That was the closest I was going to get, I promise you. It was not going to get closer than that. If I didn't cut off his nose, he still would have been to the high side of me there. So say what you want, but that was a necessary move in the moment. So even though Tuck wasn't to my inside there, I did still continue to run the high side. I just didn't want to let anyone get to my high side. I knew that would have been a death sentence. As we're getting into the winding down laps of this race, only about 4 or 5 laps to go. I don't have the lap counter in front of me, so I don't know how many, but I know we're right down to the wire in this one. And at this point, I'm feeling really good about my chances to win. I have the high side. We're not 3 wide. As I make a little contact there with Tuck, I got a bump from Bailey. He got me a little loose, sent me into Tuck. And I know as long as I can keep running that high side and I can not make mistakes, I'll probably get Tuck at the wire. Tuck's not the type of guy that's going to door me to stop me from getting to the wire first. He's clean. So I was really liking my chances here. However, the old tires, you're going to see, they really started to wear on this car, and I'm getting tight. Look how much I'm drifting up the racetrack off the corner. I mean, this car is just getting bad tight. I was chewed up those tires in the beginning of the run, and they're getting real bad at this point in the race. In 3 and 4, I'm still doing okay, but in 1 and 2, when I hit that bump every time in the middle of 1 and 2, my car is just getting violently unsettled, and I'm just not able to make anything happen there. So as you see here, we come in 1 and 2 again, and it's okay at first, and I'm actually letting off a little bit more, but I just hit that bump and my car gets so tight it goes right up the racetrack. Biggest thing for me, though, is I'm trying to keep it pinched right to Tuck. I do not want to leave a hole in the middle. I know if I leave a hole in the middle, Bailey's obviously going to take it. It's late in the going, and I just knew I couldn't afford to let that happen. So here we come, this time by the flag stand. The flagger has the white flag in the air. 1 more lap to go, and get ready. This finish is epic. Here we come in the middle of 1 and 2. I drive it in too deep. A terrible mistake by an experienced driver like me, something I can't do. I drift way up the racetrack, leave the middle open. Sure enough, here comes Bailey Galinas. Bailey Galinas right up the middle in between us. And coming into 3 and 4, I just put my foot to the floor and I said, you know what? I hope I get back to the stripe first. We are 3 wide coming off the corner. Look at the cameras flashing. It's going to be so close to the stripe. Do I get him? I do not. Bailey Galinas won the race up the middle by 11 1/1000ths of a second. I actually ended up in 2nd, and Tuckness ended up in 3rd. What an epic race that was. Here, we'll show that from a different angle. So here I come down into 3 and 4. I'm pinching Tuck right to the bottom. I just get tight though off the corner, drift right up the racetrack. Rookie mistake by me. You can't do that on the last lap racing for wins. And then Galinas comes right up the middle. And at this point on the high side, I knew I just needed to pinch him and get a good run off. Here I felt good about it. I thought I was going to win off the corner, but those old tires got a little tight again. I got the momentum back, but it was just a little too late. It was Bailey Galinas at the stripe. Here, I'll try to get a good camera angle on that for you. And you see right there, Galinas just by the smallest of margins. So that was the Street Stocks at Iowa, a fun event for sure. I had a lot of fun racing with those guys. Those guys are some of the best in the business. I would race with them any day of the week. If you like the video, be sure to leave a like. And I haven't made a video in a while. Put in the comments some different things I could do to make these videos better. I hope you enjoyed it. Best of luck, iRacing community. This is PDJ Zeller signing off. See you next time.